Order. It's 10:45 on November 9th, and we do have a quorum here in the room. We are missing 2 council members, but we still have a quorum. This is a workshop with engineers relating to current and future street work. That is kind of a broad subject so that we can kind of discuss everything that's going on. We have been out on the new construction right now and looking at some issues that we had, and talking about how we're going to resolve the issues. I think we know at this point, Victoria, where are we going with this? How are you gonna proceed?
So the way I see it is, when we went out there this morning, there were some areas on the pavement that the city was concerned about, some failures in the asphalt, potentially even going through with the base. I would have Gulf Coast come back out here. I know that in some areas it will require a patch. So we're going to have to saw cut it and replace it. There were some concerns about the erosion that occurred on the protection plan that they put down. I spoke to Wayne at Gulf Coast, and he is aware of that, and he did say that they will come back and address that, place some more soils where it washed out, so they won't leave the city with what it is now. We aren't quite sure the extent of some of the pavement issues that the city has, and that's kind of something that I want to talk to you guys about. I know the potholes that did develop, but there are other concerns that you guys mentioned earlier this morning, and I want to go over those concerns that you guys have and see if we can come up with something or call and talk to Gulf Coast. I will contact them and reach out to them and let them know the issues that you guys have. Okay. So if we can go through that, that would be helpful.
Okay. By the way, for those that are watching,
sorry.
This is Victoria Dye with LJA Engineering, and the council members that are not able to be here today are David Harrington and John Craven. And we have, of course, our public works person, David Marshall, here. So where are we now? So you'll just be reporting to us?
Yes. So if we could just go through some issues that you guys, I could visually see that there was a pothole too that developed, and that to me is pretty clear that what needs to be done. But I know that Councilman Morris said that there were issues that he said visually he wasn't happy with, and so that's what I want to talk to you guys about. For me, I know visually it's not as smooth as you guys would like to see, but it is doing what it's intended to do. I don't see any sinking of the pavement. So for me, I don't think it needs to be torn up at all. But again, I just want to speak to you guys and see where you are, because we know that we want you to be happy, and Gulf Coast feels the same way, and this is what Wayne told me. So if you guys want to speak about that.
Well, definitely, like you said, that one section does have to be cut.
Correct.
And the base work done to make sure that that's reinforced.
Mm-hmm.
And I think probably a comment from David might be appropriate at this point. What is your feeling or opinion?
Yeah, we need to saw cut and replace that one. I think that they tried to heat to get it to go back, and it just didn't work. There's also another spot there that Stephen and I looked at this morning, but it's in that same general area. So when they saw cut, they should be able to get both.
Yeah,
of
so
them.
it'll be a larger cut.
Right,
and that
right.
that was also the section where a tree, I guess, limb had kind of gotten.
Yeah, and it probably in the mix or whatever, but yeah, it was there. The other part, Stephen and I both talked about it. I think maybe it was overrolled just a little bit. Not being an engineer, but seeing it firsthand, that just tends to give it a different look, but it's not really detrimental to the whole project or to the road surface. It just looks a little different.
I'm sorry, what part of it?
That would be if you're coming in on the left-hand side from about, if you'd looked at the guardrail to the beginning of the project, about halfway down this direction towards the front. It's not as smooth. It's smooth, but it has some
kind of grainy.
Yeah, thank you. That's the word I'm looking for.
And
Kinda
I mean,
grainy.
I want to point out that it's normal. I'm working with a lot of other contractors, and not all surfaces are going to come out smooth like we saw on Durwood or even back towards the back 22nd. So it doesn't mean that the asphalt and the pavement's not working the way it should. It's just sometimes when they work it, it's just not going to appear the same way. And so I would hate to say that it's a workmanship on Gulf Coast, because they are doing it correctly. It's just sometimes, whether it's the aggregate or the load that they're getting out of their plant, it's just slightly different. But it all meets the specifications required on the plans, because they
It's
do
the
some.
tolerances plus or minus what?
Yeah, because they submit all those materials and we check it off to make sure that it
Yeah.
applies the TxDOT specs,
Right.
and they do. So
And it's not detrimental to the road surface at all. It's just, it looks a little different. That's a little grainier. But it's still good.
What about the potholes that we are seeing? Is that structural?
so the pothole.
Or what is the cause of it? I mean, I don't want to come and make a patch and not fix the
The root
problem.
cause, yeah.
The root cause, I think, would be the base. You know, when they did lay that base, it was during the time where we got a lot of rain. So they worked it, they compacted it, and then I think it got hit with rain. And so they came back and they worked it and compacted it again. And perhaps when they got it recompacted, that was just a spot that potentially they didn't hit all the way. But their testing came back that they submitted from their testing agency, all passed with what was required on the specs. So it just, I mean, not everything, and I feel terrible saying that, but it's not going to be 100% perfect sometimes, and this was just something that we got. And I don't want to say that it's something that Gulf Coast, like I said this again, poor workmanship, because I know that they don't want to leave the city with a product that y'all aren't happy with. So they're going to come back and address everything. So
That came back as premium fill, is that right?
yes, so the fill
Right.
required to build up that road was specified as select fill. So it's not going to be clay, it's not going to be 100% silt. It's a combination of a silty sand, which we know compacts really well. So that was what was part of the spec. Yeah.
Okay.
Any other questions from council there regarding?
We have
Yeah,
a 1-year warranty.
Yes, it's a 12-month warranty.
So if that side that is pretty rough cracks and water leaks in it and separates it, they'll fix it.
Correct. Yes, and it's going to be a 1-year warranty based on when we sign off on the certificate of completion.
Okay,
Even
well-
though they're complete now, until we sign that form and the city accepts it as it is, the warranty kicks in. It doesn't kick in now.
Okay, so that'll be after they come by and come back and
Correct.
redo it. Okay, thank you.
When you're coming into Ivanhoe, come off the old pavement, you hit the new crossing. Can they smooth that out, because it's quite a bump in there?
I did take a look at that, and I think I can have them take a look at it, but it's the best I feel like we're going to get, because when we're tying into that pavement, it's a little rough there, you know, and they're doing it all with large equipment, so it's not by hand. So when they're matching existing, I see what you're talking about, but I can take a look at it and see if they can dress it and put maybe some wrap or something to smooth it out. But I feel like that may cause more of a hump than anything.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, that's,
yeah, I think, to me, and I can look at it again, I felt like it wasn't too terrible, but if it's something that
The one on this side,
coming
going
in,
out,
going
if
out.
you're going out,
On the right-hand side.
no,
right.
if you're going out, that one's fine.
Coming in is where you
But when on the other side,
coming into the city.
I think it's the other way around.
well, whatever. But the one,
He's right.
the one by the old store, where you parked your vehicles,
Yes.
that one has got more of a bump to it, or it's not as smooth as the other side.
But what I did notice was on that side, there's a little bit of a dip on the existing road. So when they're coming in and you're hitting it, that may be the bump that you're feeling, because it's a little smoother coming out of the city. The existing pavement isn't so bumpy. So that may be another potential reason of why you're feeling a little
Maybe
bit
so.
more of a hit
Maybe so.
at that tie-in.
I don't know where we're gonna do that.
I'll take a look at it.
We just need somebody that has a gigantic grinder and they can smooth it out.
I don't think so. You'd end up with a mess.
Then we wash it off with a fire truck.
No, I'd love to have a grinder, but not in that case, not in that instance. Nope. Anyway, are we finished with this issue?
I would think they would saw cut it and address the base, so they would potentially remove the base, and we'll take a look. And it may be where we're laying 8 inches of ASB, like stabilized base, and then we put a hot mix on top. But I think once they cut it open, we'll know a little bit more about what's going on underneath, and if it's an isolated base issue. But I would think it would be a hot mix overlay on top, yeah. It wouldn't be a cold patch, no.
Is that what they did on Chanticleer? When they did that big patch? They did a hot mix
That was
patch?
a hot
Yeah, hot
patch
mix,
on
because they
there, yeah.
brought in a small load, yeah.
Okay. Are we finished with this? Questions about this? I'd like to know Charmaine South.
Charmaine-
LD was supposed to come in and seal those cracks.
Yeah, so I did talk to Keith Gunn with LD earlier this week, and he did say the same thing, that they will come back before the end of the month. They're just trying to squeeze it in between their projects, and they are aware that they need to come out and fix those cracks.
Okay. Okay. Chanticleer, the fog seal that we were talking about putting on, they were going to do, and David was telling me the other day that ideally fog seal should be put on in cold or warm weather.
Warmer weather.
The
Yes.
warmer the better.
Yeah, so Wayne knows, and I did say that I thought they were going to apply it when they were going to come back and do the erosion plan. But I guess that wasn't the case. In speaking with Wayne again, he said that they would apply it when they were here with the road bond project. I know that if the weather's too cold for the application, they're not going to do it, but that's his intent to complete it when they're here.
Okay. I don't know. At this point, I would almost say
Hold off.
let's just wait until next summer where it's applied when it's going to work the best, and that's when it's hot. Everything's expanded. It sinks in better. It seeps in better and seals better. I would rather just see it
And what's that on?
Chanticleer, that fog seal, just a real thin layer of emulsion, more water than emulsion, but it smooths that surface out and seals it from any further damage.
I have to agree with David on
Yeah.
that one.
Yeah, and then we can make some sort of agreement with Gulf Coast that they adhere to honor the price that they had quoted us, because again, we thought that they would be applying it at this time, so it would fall on them for not having come and completed it when they said they would.
Okay. Yeah.
I have a question in regards to the fog seal. When they do the Water Development Board project, if they came in with a fog seal on that, it would probably smooth a lot of that roughness out.
I think generally a fog seal, you would want it have it cure out for a year. You don't want to apply it too soon after asphalt pavement is put down. For me, I don't think that a fog seal actually smooths out a drive. It's intended to kind of permeate into cracks and kind of give you another seal. So if there's a roughness to a surface, it's not going to necessarily fix that.
Heck.
Yeah. David
No,
what are
you're
your thoughts on
absolutely
that?
right. I mean, the purpose of a fog seal is to come in, like she said, penetrate as deeply as it does, usually about a half an inch. It just,
Seals it.
well, and in layman's, it keeps the asphalt moist to where in the hot sun it doesn't start baking out and keeping everything where it starts cracking. It keeps it more pliable. So it's just good all the way around. But yeah, it wouldn't fill in those areas that you're talking about. But again, those areas you're not going to feel them in the ride. It's only there when you look at it.
Okay. All right. Now, the next question, we have the 16th, we're going to have what they call a kickoff meeting. We finally got the contract totally signed with GLO on the $11.5 million project, and that's what this kickoff meeting is going to be about. Is there anything, Victoria, what is that going to look like for us? You've gone through kickoff meetings. We've never done one before. And so I kind of wanted to know what
So with the kickoff meeting, with the GLO, generally they'll just go through the contract saying, basically the city has this time frame to finish out the project. And I haven't seen it, so I don't know what they're allotting the city for completion of closeout. So I've seen 2 years on projects generally, but with this one, it's so large, I don't know if they've put in the extra time for it. So really, they're just going to go through the legal terms that the city needs to close out by this time. and they'll basically say, this is what has been scoped with the contract. And this one, we're talking about the 11.8 million, 11.8. Yeah, so it'll be the 3 locations that we know of. And it's not going to go into the design details at all. It's just really the legal terms of what the city's obligations are, from what I recall. So if it's anything with regard to design, it would be something that we would want to talk to the city in another type of workshop.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wondered what to expect and what was going to be covered at that meeting.
Yeah,
So-
they're just going to go over, how much funds the city is getting, how much is going to go towards construction, towards engineering, and towards admin. They're not going to go into detail about what's required with design, and that's something that's separate from the GLO.
Now, as far as land acquisition, there's land acquisition involved in every one of the sites, the 3 sites.
Yeah.
When will that be addressed? Because we have to work with the association in order to be, ready.
Yeah.
Because they have to have 3 readings to sell any piece of property.
Okay.
So we have to coordinate with them.
Yeah, so with land acquisitions, there's a lot that actually goes into that. So we're going to have to get our surveyors out, and they're going to have to survey the tracts of land. And usually with an acquisition, they're going to have to write up the boundary surveys for each tract or whatever's involved in the acquisition. And then once that exhibit is created, that's when the city can go to the homeowners and present it with whatever you guys feel like is going to be what you're requesting. Or
Right.
So that's going to be something that's going to be done prior to. There'll probably be a kind of a preliminary design on what the footprint of that acquisition would need to be, but technically there's no reason for us to move forward with full design unless we know that we're going to be able to acquire the land.
Well, see, and that's the other question. I'm thinking, and, I don't know. That's another thing we need to talk to you guys about, that we would start in the back.
We're talking about constructability now? Oh, yeah, I would start towards correct.
Now, do we acquire the land section by section?
I think that
Can we do that, or do we have to do it all in one fell swoop?
No, I think it's ideal. We can package it into 3 different packages. I've seen that in just working with like a county. There's projects that take across the whole county, so we break it up in precincts. So I feel like this would be the same situation.
Okay.
It would be 3 different packages. Yeah, we could work on one, get that started, and then kind of work towards the front.
Okay. That was kind of now, the next
So were there
thing.
3 or 4?
3.
3.
3.
Yeah, it's the Lake Ivanhoe up front.
It would be the Stilling Basin.
Yeah, and then the
Tristan.
Tristan, and then the one way in the back, Lake Camelot. That dam is going to be totally rebuilt. Totally.
What about CHARMAINE? Nothing from on the Galahad Dam or
We can pull
CHARMAINE
that
Dam?
exhibit.
No.
There's so much going on, I kind of forget, but we can pull that exhibit over there to
Oh
take.
no,
They're
there's
gonna do
nothing.
the- they're
Nothing
gonna
It's
do
just
the-
involved.
3. Okay.
It's the 3. It's the 3 dams.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah. You're not talking about this dam here, are you?
Yeah.
Oh,
No.
yeah, and that's.
No, there's nothing on this one.
Okay.
Nothing on that or Galahad. It's just those 3.
And I think it would be just makes more sense to work them differently, 3 individual
separate
projects.
projects, yeah.
Yeah, so nothing's caught up with one. You're going to have to go through your environmental and all that. So yes, it is ideal to break them up.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure that that's my understanding and it would work that way. We have supposedly we have the bond work coming up. It was scheduled in the beginning they said they were going to be able to get it in October, and now they're talking about November 29th, and that is way into beyond the season for us. We have concerns, and CD voiced the concern the other day. He said he's still really concerned about the weather. We'd all love, and me especially, would love to have it done, because I promised people October 16th they were going to start, and then you have to tell them no, November 29th, and maybe that won't happen, but we don't want to jump ahead and do something that is, maybe the weather is too cold. And be sincere with us.
No, I understand your concerns, because obviously in November we're going to see, in December moving forward, we're going to see cooler weather. But at the same time, we may not. We don't know. So I don't feel like we should postpone the World Bond Project. I think we should move forward with it. And the contractor has specifications as required. There's always a temperature that goes with laying hot mix. But like a rainy season, they're not going to lay it down when they know a cold freeze is coming. So they're not going to risk the chance of putting something down with a failure happening because it was too cold. So they would be, in my mind, smart enough to say, hey, let's hold off for the next 2 weeks till the temperatures get back up. So I would say move forward, and we could address temperature issues as they arise. I would hate for you guys to postpone, and then we have an unnormally warm season, and we're like, well, dang it, we missed our opportunity. So that's my opinion, and I don't know how David feels about it.
I want to hear, David, what are your thoughts?
I would move forward. I mean, any of us can look on AccuWeather or whoever and see what the 2 or 3 week forecast is. It's, as Victoria said, I mean, we've had Decembers where we're running around shorts and T-shirt at Christmas time. We just don't know. I would hate to stop it.
It is Texas.
Exactly. You know, and so long as the road surface is 60 degrees and the temperature is 40 and rising, you're good to go.
Okay.
One
mean,
other
that's-
thing to consider too, if we move it to the spring, we've had several really wet springs here in a
Oh,
row.
yeah, yeah.
We'd be into summer before we, I think it's better to start.
I would continue to go ahead as planned and just, like Victoria said, just keep an eye on the weather at that time frame and see where we go. That way, if we postpone it, maybe just a week or so instead of till next spring.
My thinking is this is going to take a lot more planning to do it this time of year, because you don't want to tear a road up and have base sitting there and you can't use that road while you're waiting to lay asphalt. And then, and correct me if I'm wrong, and then you got rain on it and it washes off, kind of like what we had up here at the low water crossing. And then you got to come back and try and fix what you just did to put the asphalt down. Is that right? Is that a good analogy?
Yeah, oh yeah, I mean, I've definitely thought about that. Could it happen? Certainly.
Yeah.
You know, but again, like you said, I think some thorough planning from Gulf Coast has that. From Gulf Coast, I think we can all work together with them and get it done in that time frame before it's absolutely, you know, no, it's snowing or icing outside. I
one
think we
thing
can get
that
it
we-
done before then.
Yeah, one thing that we did see with Gulf Coast on Durwood, but they got that project done quickly.
Yeah, I was
Quickly.
going
I
to say
mean,
that this.
They gave us a 90-day window on this thing.
Mm-hmm.
They always do give you a crazy long window. But they really finished Durwood and the project in the back really rapidly.
Yes, and I think if it was, so we are working solely road projects. I think it was a little different with this water development because there were so many different.
Well, you had
So-
subcontractors.
yeah, and so it did take a little longer, but with this road one, I think that, like the mayor said, it's going to get knocked out pretty quickly, in my opinion, because it's solely road stuff.
Are we still planning on going Sherwood Forest first, and then west, and then Ivanhoe?
Yeah, that's
Or,
what
or
we've
Lake,
talked about.
Lake, not Ivanhoe, but Lakewood.
That's the plan at this point.
So are the detours? I know
They're
they're
ready.
planned. They finished?
We're still doing some work on Galahad Loop to get that one around, and,
That'll
and
be-
that
that'll
one
be the
But
last
the
one
ones
anyway.
for Sherwood Forest and Sherwood
are,
Forest West.
are good. We're going to do some more in there, but they're good to go now.
Well, in the culvert on Sherwood Forest Drive.
Not done yet.
Yep.
Just reminds me I need to get with you if we can't locate 24s, what we
What
need
size?
for the same flow.
Because it's a 24 right now?
Above it. So we don't want to go anything lower than a 24.
Right. So you're not going to change out the one that's there?
No, we are.
Okay.
We are, but, well, I think that's an
What
8
are you going to put in there?
as far as size-wise.
That's what David's. He's saying
Yeah.
that if they don't have 24 inches in your yard, that
Right.
he's trying to determine what's comparable to putting in.
Well, see, that's my question. We put that's fairly new. It's a new culvert. Because in 2015, the 2015 flood event, they made us replace it with the same size culvert that was there, but that's a new culvert. It's not an old one.
No, that's a brand-new culvert.
Yeah, that's a brand new culvert. So
Yeah. We put that in
you're
about 3
talking
years
about
ago.
adding an
Yeah.
additional culvert there? Or
Possibly.
yeah,
That-
would, you know.
You know, the 24 is above it, and I think that's a 24 across the road. If we want to go bigger,
Because
I don't know what good it would do with the flow coming in as a 24. If you upped it to a 36, you're not going to get a whole lot more. As far as the new culvert there, we're still going to have to get it out of there and reset it into something a lot more stable than what it is, because that's the one that's what, like, or is that, no, that's the end of the dam. It's got like the 6 foot of,
At this other
Of
section.
organic.
Yeah.
One of those black plastic culverts,
yeah,
so
yeah,
have to be careful if you're gonna remove it, otherwise.
yeah.
Are we gonna raise the road?
For this project, yes, we're elevating the road 4 inches and then 2 inches of hot mix. 4 inches of base and 2 inches of hot mix.
And if we
Are
don't
they
get,
going to grind up the surface and pack it down and then put base on top of it?
So yes, so they're going to grind what's in place 6 inches down, and they're going to stabilize it with lime fly ash. I forget if it's lime or cement, but they're going to stabilize it, chemically stabilize it. Come back with 4 inches of limestone base on
of it.
top, and then 2 inches of hot mix.
Good, because we put an awful lot of material in those potholes.
Yeah, so they're going to grind it, and so that's why we have to stabilize it, because there's so many unknowns. The soils are so varying, so that's why we're stabilizing it to further strengthen it.
Okay. Any other, does anybody else have any questions about what's the upcoming project?
No,
Going back to the beginning, when will we receive the detailed invoice for the work that was done at the low water crossing?
So Gulf Coast has submitted their pay request number 1 and 2. 1 was processed, and they have been paid for that. 2, they're still waiting for a portion of their funds. Final payment won't be released until the city is happy with the product and signs off with a certificate of completion. But the meeting with the Texas Water Development Board this morning, essentially was them to put their eyes on the project and make sure that it was constructed, that the city is somewhat happy and pleased, so that they're willing to go ahead and sign off on the funds being released, final funds being released.
So will there be detail on there as to how much of the riprap was used?
I haven't seen their final pay request, so that has not been submitted to me.
This was an estimate.
Yes, so this is an
80
estimate.
tons of riprap, and we got 3 truckloads. I don't know what the weight is on each truckload. but-
Yeah, so this change order is an estimate. Like I said, they haven't submitted their final, so I don't know how close it is to what we proposed in change order number 2.
Okay.
And it was brought up, Skip brought up the fact that, let's have detailed design plans when in any project. And I think what we'll do now is every time we have a pre-construction meeting, we'll call it a meeting rather than just,
I think that's prudent.
Yeah, I mean, with all projects, LGA submits our design to you guys with cost estimates. I'm not sure who reviews it, but we do submit it with you guys. But now I know moving forward, even with change orders, that it's something that you guys also want to see.
Yeah, we want to see the drawing and have a statement of work that we're all in sync with moving forward.
yeah, so
Yes.
we know,
I agree with
so
that.
so everybody knows what to expect.
Yeah,
So-
understood.
I just wanted that out there in public so that we,
Got it.
on the low water crossing, where the guardrail is, I see that there's some dirt, clay showing. Should there be more riprap in there, or?
So I did see at where the post was going into the ground, there was some washout. So yeah, I will take a look at that and tell Wayne, because I did see that there should have been some riprap. Whether it was there and it got washed off, I don't know, but there is an issue
It's
of
on both sides.
Yeah.
okay. Are we good?
Well, I think the problem with the riprap is that there's some places looks like it needs more, but the way we have rains out here sometimes, I mean, we get 6 or 8 inches sometimes, and that is not going to hold up the way it's sitting right now. Looks to me like that hole where it's coming from Lake Ivanhoe. Are they going to do anything about that big gully there, or is that just the way it's going to stay?
if you're coming.
If you're leaving, it's on the left-hand side, that big
Yeah.
cutout.
So the big cutout, I think, was a result of having to remove what we called a bulk. It was a little
Bulkhead,
bulkhead.
yeah.
So we can either address it when we work on the mitigation. Is it the 11.8 million project? We can
Okay.
address it there, and then downstream, that portion of the project is going to be in the 7.8 million. So we're going to clean up and open up that ditch. So all of that will be addressed in that grant project.
Okay, thank you.
So just as a footnote, I think we need to accept the fact that at some point in the future, we're gonna have to put additional rock on the shoulder on the right exiting the city. And we can do that, you know, piecemeal over time as needed.
Yeah, and then we can see how fast is or when the vegetation comes up, and it
Yeah.
could solve the problem.
It may be fine.
And how you guys said you had a project where you guys did something disturbing the ditch, and you didn't do any sort of vegetation, and it grew up
Yeah,
and
Tristan
everything.
Dam was just the vegetation came back just.
Yeah,
Now I would think that vegetation around there would be stronger than rock. I mean, you put rock around there, it's going to wash around the rocks.
so I say we wait and get a little bit of a dry
Yeah.
period and see how that holds up. And then, like I said, Gulf Coast is aware, and they already have mentioned that they will come back and address any erosion issues that occurred. So they're not going to leave y'all hanging.
Well, they may already be out here.
Oh, yeah, they'll be
Yeah.
out here at the Road Bond project. But we're talking about in the spring where it's a little dry. Well, I don't say spring's dry, but you know, when we have a dry season.
Okay.
These meetings that we're gonna have, pre-construction, we'll have David there, won't we?
Oh, yeah, the pre-construction meeting,
Dave-
your contractor comes in, the engineers
You're
come in,
stuck.
David's always there.
David's always there.
And they bring all the detailed plans and all that stuff, and in the past, we haven't had a called meeting, which normally
Right.
cities don't, but we can do that. And if that's what council wants, we'll just have an open meeting.
I like that idea.
Yeah, okay,
And
and it's
I like
today.
David being there.
Like today, at the last minute, we decided, I mean, literally, CD and I, on Saturday, okay, we've got this much time. We can host a meeting right now, and we're within the 72 hours, so that since Victoria's out here, we can pick her brain and bring up whatever questions we had.
I'm glad we did.
Yeah.
So the reason that I was asking to have the drawings and the statement of work prior was because what we ended up getting was not exactly what I had envisioned. Based on the presentation.
Yeah, so some of the photos that Dawn presented, I guess there's just, when we say erosion control blanket, there's just a vast difference, you know, there's so many different out there.
I saw
And
some
so-
at Tractor Supply for $30.
Yeah, and so maybe that was the vision, that what you thought you were getting wasn't what Gulf Coast had put down, but it doesn't mean that they didn't put it down. So it's yeah.
No.
So I understand.
But I didn't know dimensionally what was going
Oh,
where.
got you. Yes. Okay.
That
yeah.
was my dilemma or conundrum.
Okay. You didn't know the limits of, they're going to put the hydro mulch or the erosion control
Correct.
blanket.
Right.
Okay, understood.
That's why we've asked for the drawings and the statement of work going forward.
Okay.
Okay. Are there any other comments? If not, do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, we are adjourned at
Thank you,
11:17.
Victoria.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, David.
Appreciate
Thank
Thank you,
y'all.
David.
Thank you,
Thank
Tom.
you.